What's up, board game people? I hope everyone out there is doing well, and I hope you all have a little time because this week is packed with news. We had a few slow weeks, but we're back to it now. Origins happened last week, and Gen Con is just on the horizon. All over the world, gamers are coming together to celebrate the hobby we all love, and with convention season comes the big juicy news. Before we start, thank you to everyone supporting the channel on Patreon and in every other way. You're all amazing. I cannot be happier to be working towards the second milestone of grabbing a sweet camera for the channel. If you'd like to help support the channel, check out the video description for quite a few ways you can pitch in. Or, you can subscribe and hit that like button. Everything helps. Live on crowdfunding now, Studium No Exit has just hours left and fund bleeding is tapered off. They sit well over the 40,000 funding ask. Phantom Epoch's relaunch is on Kickstarter and it's completely funded as well, and they just unlocked the timeless Archer and Berserker adversaries for the game. This game is a great deal, at a great price, made by great folks. I cannot recommend checking it out enough. Over on Gamefound, Stalker has a week left and has passed the $2 million mark. The daily reveals have been looking great, and the latest, the Zone Survival mode, has been expanded, and the Universal Stalker miniatures are being added in. Another huge project, Firefly, the 10th Anniversary Edition, has a bit over a week left on Gamefound, and all the stretch goals have been unlocked. Scarface 1920, Bloody Business, has seen a boom with almost 700,000 euros in funding and 18 days left to go. This expansion returns to Chicago in a big way. Witchcraft is still going strong and has a little over a week to go on Gamefound as well. Fresh on crowdfunding this week, we have the Ultimate Edition of Tanares Adventures headlining over on Kickstarter on the 27th. This is a full reprint, a second chance to get in on the fun, and a hefty upgrade to both Tanares Adventures and Arena the Contest. Make sure and back on day one to get your free huge Silver Dragon miniature. Any pledges $89 and over will get it to you for free. Oh, and the big storage box and update pack for returning backers just so happens to run $89. This will also get you all the stretch goals added throughout the campaign. Oh, and if you're looking for a bit of a cheaper entry point, a little birdie told me about a standee version of the PvE mode that might just fit the bill. The other campaign I have my eye on this week is Planet Unknown's Deluxe Edition reprint and expansion, hitting Gamefound on the 27th. And with that all out of the way, let's get to the latest in the news. The Origins convention hosted just over 16,000 attendees this year, up 38% from 2022. The number of events more than tripled from 1,400 up to 6,400 events this year, and the number of exhibitors blew up from 63 in 2022 to 330 this year. Origins is absolutely on my list for next year if at all possible. If you went to Origins this year, I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments. Plastic samples are in for the Earth Under Siege Flashpoint campaign, and there are a ton of them. Overall, they're looking pretty slick and ready for the game table. Mass production for the project is ready to kick off. They're hoping to have a production schedule set very soon. They also have some great game trays renders in, and the work they've done for Earth Under Siege is right up to the standards you'd expect. These trays both look good and pack a ton of functionality into a small space. After stacking everything tightly, there's still some space for Game Trace generic token trays if you'd like to squeeze some in. Shipping for Tanares Adventures continues. US and Canada is complete, with replacements going out over the next few months. In the EU, all base games are out. In the UK, Spiral Galaxy has restarted sending orders. In Australia, the remaining packages should go out very soon. In Brazil, the games will arrive in port on the 7th of July. And in Asia, VFI is already shipping the games. Their newest edition being offered in the Ultimate campaign offers an improved tutorial, streamlined campaign flow, revised journal and rulebook, new ways to obtain special attack cards, an enhanced Kemet hunt system, and expanded hero endings. New special quests, extended level ups, hero legendary skills, new enemies, new heroes, and the Wasteland Expedition are being added with the campaign. Finally, you can check out the update for a detailed FAQ. The latest shipping updates are in for The Witcher Old World. The UK is currently going out. Shipping should be done there by the 30th of June. The US is fulfilled. Europe and the rest of the world have almost all packages sent out. Canada is fulfilled and so is Australia. In Asia, China and Hong Kong are fulfilled and the rest of the country should be done by mid-July. Poland is fulfilled. The second wave is being loaded onto containers and should be hitting seas soon. Go On Board has recently put out 2 videos you might want to check out. One goes through the Wild Hunt expansion in detail, and the other shows how to get all the cards to fit in the big storage box. Addresses are locking for Lawyer Up Season 2. The games are through production and getting ready to be on boats and on their way to backers. All addresses will officially lock on July 7th. July will see the games hitting the seas with fulfillment happening from August to September. Containers are booked for the Burncycle reprint and new recruits project. They're hoping to have a fairly concrete timeline by next week, and they'll send out another update then. They'll also have more stock for Burncycle on their web store once games have shipped. File delivery for the 3D printable modular display case is happening now. The files will automatically be added to your My Manufactory accounts in the next few days if they aren't already there. The Pledge Manager for Euthia Resurrected's campaign is closing on July 5th. Late backing is still available, but this is the absolute last call. Make sure those pledges are in the placed and paid position and you've paid your shipping. Address updates will continue to be available. Production for Fractal Beyond the Void has finally started. Repeated mistakes by the manufacturer have been the cause of the delay, but things seem to finally be rolling in the right direction. There were many inconsistencies among how the colors for the cards were graded, and they had to go back and forth to ensure each and every item is color graded properly, and the quality of the final components will be up to their high standards. Pickup date for the games from the factory is now set for August 23rd, so freight a few weeks later, and hopefully fulfillment in October of this year. The Pledge Manager, which has been left open for backers to finalize pledges, will be closing at the end of June. This week, mass production copies are being shown off for the Marvel Zombies X-Men, Guardians, and Sentinels. Shipping for Galactus is complete in APAC, Australia, Canada, and Europe. Mexico, Brazil, and Chile are shipping now with some stuck in customs. 1/3 of the containers for the US have arrived, and the other 2/3 will arrive by mid-July to the hubs. Rest of the world countries should start seeing deliveries in mid-July. Second wave shipping has seen the first batch assembled and heading to fulfillment hubs, so pledges can be packed and shipped. They will update with dates when they have more data. Ever wonder if CMON really isn't that good at putting out new IPs? Trudvang Legends has been delayed for how many years? And Wave 2 is just now seeing the light of day? It's amazing they can deliver their reskinned zombies with the quickness, yet leave backers hanging on what should have been an amazing new IP to add to their stables. Well, at least we're finally getting some word on the status of Wave 2, and it looks like one day it might actually make it to backers. Editing for the last adventures has been completed, and the graphics department have delivered the final files. So everything for the expansions is ready to go. Production should begin in July, and they hope to deliver before Chinese New Year's 2024. Robomon likes to keep their updates short and sweet, but always full of good news. The good progress continues on the game with most exterior location art complete, and NPCs, Robomon, story hooks, and more in development now. The Tournament of Champions story puzzles are nearing completion, and Gabe is switching gears to work on the Robomon from the expansions. There are also some updates to the Island Adventure in the hopper after receiving feedback from the print and play version. The robot apocalypse the 80s promised us is finally here. Oh, scratch that. It seems AI has a sense of humor. The Pledge Manager for Unsettled is closing on June 30th. Some slight adjustments to the Unsettled timeline have been made. June is out for delivery, but not by much. They're booking freight for those little boxes of masochism, and they'll be making their way to backers in a more Augusty timeframe. The Pledge Manager for Monster Hunter World Iceborne will launch soon, somewhere around the end of July. There will be new items available in the Pledge Manager. They're looking into cosmetic upgrades, but new monsters are a go. They're showing off the Overpowering Hunger expansion, which will now be available in the PM. And they state again plans to support the game well after launch. They also show us the Ruiner Nergigante expansion and the Elder Dragon, Blackveil Valhazak. These new monsters will be available in the Pledge Manager and eventually make their way to the web store, but will not see retail releases. In the news for Andromeda's Edge, some awesomely colorful new art is in. The art is taken from the event deck and shows just a few of the twists and turns ahead for those of us trying to carve out our own corner of the galaxy. The Pledge Manager is open and will be for a couple of months. If you should be getting free perks, you should see a free version in the PM you can add to your carts. In development news, all 25 models are now approved and samples are in production. They were able to solve locking the Hive and Hornets together. They also solved issues with the cardboard standees, making a quality base not prone to tearing the cardboard. Another solution has been found for transport and development connections. They found a way to allow them to lock in snug enough for pickup and move. This ship is getting ready for launch, so get those pledges finalized. New renders are in for some of the AR Vault story dice. This update shows off the activity die, the behavior die, the reaction die, and the weather die. All of these are D6s and they're looking great. I only wonder how many coats of varnish it would take to protect a paint job on a die. The pledge manager is still being worked on and should be approaching. How about a quick one from Tamashii Chronicles of Ascend? We got some more art and card samples from the campaign, and they still aim to start shipping games to backers around mid-September. Knowing Awakened Realms, this will be a long and drawn-out process, but hopefully most will have the game in their hands by the end of the year. Series 3 of Final Girl is officially coming, and the Kickstarter will officially launch on September 19th, 2023. Over the last week, they've been teasing and revealing much of what we'll be seeing from Series 3. This series will feature The Killer from Tomorrow, Hell to Play, Falconwood Files, Don't Make a Sound, and more. That isn't all, though. They're producing a new alternate set of miniatures for the Series 1 killers, and these will be available on their website and for purchase at Gen Con on August 3rd. Production photos and videos are in for Destinies Witchwood and reprint. It's great to see progress being made, and the big box storage looks great, but the lack of labels on the end of the trays is pretty disappointing. There should be some indication of what the trays contain. They're still waiting on a firm end of production date, so they will update the timeline as soon as that information is available. Shipping is well underway for Castles of Burgundy Special Edition. In the EU, the first 2 containers should hit port on the 4th of July. In the US, the first containers should be at the hub this week, with more due in mid-July and others still yet to hit the seas. In the UK, the first will arrive on the 3rd of July. For Australia, the ship is already in Sydney. In Canada, the game should be at the hub on the 9th, with more containers due in over the next 3 weeks. For Asia, the games are already being shipped. Unboxing videos are all over YouTube, but mine's still on a ship and likely months away. Production is drawing very near for Primal the Awakening. These are the final weeks of editing and tweaking that will ensure that the project they deliver matches the dream they set out to create. Reggie Games expects to finalize all files by the end of the month, and Print Components should start production in the first half of July. It's been a huge project, but they're glad and proud that they stuck to their guns and delivered the project in a single wave, allowing them to ensure quality and continuity across the game and expansions. This update dives into the stretch goal expansion, focusing on the Tarasca, an armored, overgrown armadillo with spunk. Zakath, who actually comes in 2 variations and will keep you on your feet and in pain. And Zitharos, a nasty Uteranus-looking monster, hiding spikes under the fur and enough teeth to make a great white jealous. They also explain Nightmare Mode for those looking for even more of a challenge. Ancient Blood, the Order of Vampire Hunters, has posted a nice update giving an updated timeline and leaving a little room for speculation on delivery dates. They are heavy in the translation process, which is both intense and time-consuming. They hope for the translations to be complete in July, samples approved by September, and mass production to start in October, which puts the games possibly delivering to us around the end of the year or very early 2024. They've been busy shuffling the support side of the company around, and they're making every effort to improve their response times and the overall quality of how the company is run. The bulk of content for Maladum is largely finished and testing is well underway. The plastic mini production samples are in and all have been approved except for the Corruptor, which shouldn't be too far off. The terrain sheets are complete and ready to send for the production samples so they can be tested. They've been working on the branching campaign, and that is now complete and in testing. The pledge manager for Maladum Dungeons of Enveron will be closing around the end of July when quantities must be confirmed. Shipping of both Rapid Ship and Standard pledges will be happening faster than expected for the Dungeons & Lasers 5 campaign. They've been making good progress, and while they don't have exact dates yet, they wanted to share the good news. Shipping addresses will be locked for Resident Evil on June 30th. Production is almost done, and it's time to finally lock those down. 2 new languages, Ukrainian and Korean, have been added for Stonesaga. This month's update deep dives into refinement of the general content for the game. Revamping the Night and Discovery cards have been the focus of this month, but they also touched on existing challenges, goals, materials, and other content. Cards grant offsetting bonuses on failure, and the impact of these has been heightened. Ongoing events can be added by night and discovery cards now. These can create ongoing problems or opportunities that must be dealt with. Fishing and foraging have been improved in several ways to smooth out the experience of using them. Legendary materials and items have also been seeing some love and development as well. Sleeping Gods haven't been sleeping on the progress. Distant Skies and the reprint and everything else is entering the final phase of manufacturing. Most of the printing is done and a mass production sample should be on the way. Once it's approved, assembly of the games will begin. They hope to ship games by the 14th of August from China, with shipping to backers happening in late September and early October. After discussing some of the updates to the game in May, the Elden Ring team from Steamforged Games has been taking the feedback into account and making even more changes. Ambushes have been renamed to hardships for the time being, and they now interact with other mechanics a bit differently. The cards have a day and night section on each. When a player lands on a space with a hardship on it, they draw a hardship card and resolve the effect listed under the correct time of day. There's a cost that must be paid, and then there's an effect. There are choices on most cards, but you must choose one. Production of Dungeon Crusade is now well underway. The Pledge Manager sadly has closed. I badly wanted to get a video out announcing the closure ahead of time, but life planted itself firmly in my way. The Pledge Manager was still open at last glance, but is likely closed as of this video going out. The games will be shipping out sometime this summer. So much work has gone into the creation and preparation for production of this reprint, and it's glad to see it finally kicking off. A new update from Middara is in, with news on shipping. Wave 1 is moving along nicely and expected to deliver in August. Manufacturing and pick and pack for the resin kits is taking longer than expected, and resin kits will now ship alongside Wave 1. Wave 2 development and production is cruising right along, and Act 2 and 3 sit at around 80% complete. The Pirates of Elania Volume 1 is at 90%, the Cave Sickle Queen is at 99% complete, along with the Pit Boss Bounty Pack. The Collector Bounty Pack is 90% complete. Trial of Her Princess is at 90%, Vile Variations is at 95%. Kickstarter Promo Pack 2 is at 99%, Act 1 Token Upgrade Pack is at 99%. So is the Lupercilia 2021 Pack, the Crossover Pack, Sylvia Art Book 2, and the new playmats. They're still expecting to ship Wave 2 out in Q4 of 2023 or Q1 of 2024. Succubus is combining with Foreteller to visit conventions. They were at Origins last week, and they'll be hitting Gen Con next. Isofarian Guard has issued a surprise announcement. Fulfillment is reaching the end, and a reprint has been announced. The reprint will launch on September 5th on Gamefound. They hint at future games in the same universe and future additions to the Isofarian Guard as well. The reprint will include some exciting new content. First and foremost, they're preparing an update kit for first edition backers as they're wanting to take care of those who made the game possible. The second printing will include improvements to the rulebook, reference guide, player aid, and index book. All of this will be included in the upgrade pack at no additional charge. Digital versions will be made available through RulePop, well before the second printing. The only thing you'll pay for in the upgrade pack is the new content that's being added. The updates include a new exploration phase, a new battle phase action, updated round order, new field events, and more. Of course, there's plenty more surprises in store when the campaign goes live on Gamefound. A quick update from Mythwind has some good and bad news. Bad news? Some of the die lines were a few millimeters off in the samples, and they've corrected this and are awaiting new samples for approval. The good news is that the delay shouldn't be long. Manufacturing is now set to finish in August, with fulfillment in September and October. We're getting a look at more of the minis for Heroes of Might and Magic 3 this week. Translations have been handed off and should be ready within a couple months, and they'll share the PDFs once they're available. Pre-production copies are in hand for Soul Last Days of a Star, and the game inserts are looking magnificent. Assembly instructions are coming together for the insert, and they're hoping to hit the magic production button very soon. They'll be sure and share more firm dates once they have them in hand. Let's look in at some Warhammer news before I let you all go. This last Saturday, Warhammer 40k stampeded into the 10th edition with all expected fanfare, with the release of the official 10th edition rules, points, and the Leviathan box. Things are only heating up though. Pre-orders are now available for the 40k Crusade Tyrannic War. Both the normal and collector's editions are up for pre-order. Crusades are something I hope to dip my toes into with the new edition. 2 new combat patrols are being teased. These combat patrols are for the Space Marines and the Tyranids, and they're sadly little more than pared down versions of the Leviathan box armies. GW has also revealed a Space Marine board game headed to the Target web store as an exclusive. While this is a far cry from Dead City, it's the only place you're going to be able to get the Lieutenant Titus miniature. Want some non-40k news? There's a not Warhammer 40k preview being broadcast on July 1st. Can't wait to see what the rest of the verse is up to. Finally, the battle for Aughrim has begun. Muster your forces and log your games to help determine the fate of the planet and gain priority access to new reveals in the next Warhammer 40k preview. Alright, that's quite enough news for one little critical grumbling in 1 week. I have videos coming. No, really, I swear. Next up, I have an unboxing of the demo box for Harakiri and editing, as well as a last call newsflash video for just shy of 10,000 campaigns wrapping up their pledge managers soon. Thank you to everyone that's made it this far in the video. You all are the true superstars. If you like my content and want to support the channel, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the video description for other ways you can help out. Every dollar gets us closer to a real camera. I hope everyone that made it to Origins had a great time, and if you're going to be at Gen Con, let me know in the comments. What are you looking forward to in July? Stay safe, stay frosty, and have a great week.